So we are being recorded, and this is, again, Get Moving with QiGong. I'm Ellen Shapiro. We are also on the live stream, so if anyone is there watching on the live stream, enjoy the class. I hope you move along with us, and if you like the class, come on in, register, and join the class, and then you can interact with me more directly. So here we go. All right, I am back to being host, and let's check here. Oops, what's happening? Oop. Mute all. Okay.
Can you make me host, Ellen? A co-host, rather.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right. So welcome to Get Moving with QiGong. We are ready to start. Again, I'm Ellen Shapiro. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I've been having a great time teaching on Get Set Up and sharing my QiGong training and knowledge with you. And I've been teaching QiGong now for 7 years. Seems amazing to me. And I just keep learning and growing myself, and I learn from your questions and all. So at this point, since I've been teaching on Get Set Up for a while, yeah. So Lester just put his information in the chat, and he is here to assist you. So before we start, I mean, in this Get Moving with QiGong class, I've been teaching sequences of movements that link from one to another, and I'm planning to continue with that today. But I just want to see if there's any particular questions or requests from anyone who has been in the class before, and anyone else, of course. I can't really, if I get a lot of requests for something for different body parts, I don't know if I can respond to that, but I would like to just put out questions because I know some of you have been coming to class. So is there anything specific you want to ask at this point? And of course, there'll be more opportunity at the end to ask questions. So if you want to speak, unmute yourself and let me know. And I'll just keep my eye on the chat too. Okay, so maybe no questions at this point, and that's fine. So what we're going to do today is a series. I have taught this one before that is for the yin. So that's for our grounding, that's for calmness, that's for staying centered. And it's also about resilience. The yang is also about resilience in a little different way. So the yin energy, which some people call the feminine, but really yin and yang are really not, we might associate certain things with the feminine, but it's not really about men or women or gender. It's really more about a quality of being. And the yin is about receptive, flowing with circumstances, grounded, calm, and resilient. So that's what I want to say. And yin is also associated with the earth and with the downward movement. The yang is more outward expression, it's the upward movement, and it's more about that quality of, I mean, again, it's not exactly active and passive, but the yang is just more about taking risks and being out there. The yin is a little more introverted and protected. And of course, we need both of these, whether we're men or women. It's not really about that. So this is a form for cultivating and strengthening the yin. And if anyone is totally new to this class or new to QiGong, I go into a longer explanation about what QiGong is and what its foundation, which is basically part of Chinese medicine. I go into that more in the beginners, in the Get in the Qigong for Beginners class. But I will say, just again, for your background, what we're doing here with Qigong is building our vital energy, building and rebuilding, renewing our life force energy. So you could think of our energy as like deposits in the bank. So when we're just by virtue of being young and healthy for most people, as sometimes people have health issues even as children, I know that. But generally we start with a pretty big reserve of qi. If you look at like young kids who are healthy, they're all full of energy, right? We always say, what happened to all that energy? So over time, we start to, first of all, we get trained to contain the energy and sit still and be quiet and all that. But over time, especially in adulthood, our activities and the way we live can either add to our qi account or can take away from it. Now, we use a certain amount of energy every day just to do, the basic things. But then what you do on top of that will either deplete your energy or add to it. So what depletes it is overworking. And some of these things we don't have a choice about. Stress, a lot of stimulation like caffeine, a lot of time online or taking in kind of, media and all that. Just having a very busy schedule, all of these things can deplete our energy. Of course, how we eat, our sleeping patterns, all of these things. So Qigong is a way of helping us replenish that storehouse of energy. So that's what we're doing here in Qigong. So we'll get moving in a second. Just a couple of little preliminaries about the movement. So you can practice Qigong in a chair, and like this is typical of kind of what happened in the last class where I said that in the beginning and people are like, well, obviously if you have an injury in your legs or something that really makes it difficult for you to stand in one place for any length of time, the chair is how you should practice. It's not really an option. But then a woman asked me, and again, this is because of our training, which is really about be strong, be tough, tough it out. She asked me about a third of the way through the class about her back was starting to bother her. And she said there was something going on with her spine. And I said, the answer is, she said, well, should I stay in the class? Should I keep going? And I said, the answer is practice in a chair. And she said that actually helped her. So if you have stuff going on with your spine, your hips, your legs, anything like that, if you're recovering from being sick or just had a lot of stress, you're tired, you're feeling a little depleted, please practice in a chair. Okay, it's not really that different. The main thing that is different is, of course, you're not standing, you're not going to build strength in your legs directly from doing it in a chair, but everything else is the same. And you're building qi in sitting in a chair. Everybody else that is not in the chair, you can use the chair for warm-ups. So we'll come up to standing in a second, we'll do some warm-ups, and then we will get moving. All right. Okay, just checking my camera position. Okay. Ever since I made a little tiny adjustment the other day, I'm having a little more challenge getting it back the way it was. It's amazing how precise life can be sometimes. Okay, I think that's good. And just so you know, if I do a movement where I'm over my head, I'm going to sit just so you can see my full body length. But otherwise, I think I'm in a good spot here. Okay, so let's just honor our practice together with a simple bow. So just hands on your thighs and Welcome to practice. Good. And let's start with just a shakeout. So right now, I'm just lightly shaking my hands. And now I'm flicking a little bit more. And if this jiggling is irritating, do it smaller. And we're waking up the chi in the body by doing this. Okay, let's take in some deep breaths and do some shoulder rolls. So I'm going to go inhaling back, down and around. One more time in that direction. Circling to the front. Good, and let's do a little bit of shoulder like that. So notice I'm putting this shoulder forward and I'm also rotating my elbow back a little bit like that. And the other one. And let's alternate. So if you want, just bring a little bit of that kind of mermaid energy here. And for the guys, it's okay. You can do it too. All right. Let's do a stretch for the front of the body. And this is for triple heater. So I got my hands like that, and I just turn them backwards. Let me sit so you can see this. And you're just going to bring your hands up here. You can stretch, take in a breath and stretch and let it go. And if your shoulders are tight, just go to here. You don't have to be all the way up here. Always adjust the practice and listen to your body. So you want to copy my movements, but you also want to adapt them to your range of motion and your flexibility, bringing that down. Okay, sometimes we finish with this movement, but I'm feeling like let's start with this today. This is showering chi, so this is an opportunity to take a shower with your energy and clean off any kind of junk from the day. Okay, so bend the knees. And the secret with the knees, the feet and knee position is basically either feet parallel or slightly out. And whatever you're doing, that the knees are coming over the feet and not in like that. Okay, so here we go. And now inhale. Lifting, exhale, turn the hands. Inhale up. And again, just for visibility's sake, here, I'll do it in the chair, just so you can see. So here we go. Inhaling, exhale, inhale overhead, exhaling down. And what we're doing here with this hand movement is releasing stagnation or negative energies to the earth and asking that the earth compost this for us. So here we go. And often in QiGong, we'll use metaphors from nature. So that's what we're working with here. We're working with the forces of nature, the life energy. So inhale again. Just below the shoulders, turn the hands, exhale. Inhale overhead. Releasing to the earth. We'll do 2 of those. One more time. Good. Okay. So we did some upper body warm-ups. Let's do a little bit for our hips. So first, we're going to do a narrow stance with a smaller hip circle. And we're just going to go Doesn't really matter which direction you start in because we're going to do both ways. So I go side, back, side, and front. One more. And the other way. So the arms are just along for the ride, not really doing anything with the arms here. Just a hip circle. Okay, now let's go a little wider and you can find your width on this too. And this will feel a little different. So, all right, so I'm gonna go same thing. It's just a little bit bigger circle because I can do that with my legs further apart. This is difficult, adjust your legs or do it smaller. Okay, let's reverse the circle. See if you can really stretch into the inside of the groin as you circle. So, all right, good. Let that go. Let's warm up our hands. And let's put them on the kidneys. So that's just above the waist and the low back here. All right. Let's do some simple warm-ups for the feet and legs here. This one I do a lot, so if you've been to class, you've seen this one before. But let's start this a little differently today. So I'm going to lift my right heel. Before I do, I'm going to ground, meaning I'm feeling my energy coming down into my leg and down, sinking down into my foot, resting firmly on the floor. Now I lift that right heel up. First, I'm just mainly pressing into the feet and the ankle. So here I'm warming up and I'm focusing on the kidney 1 point that is between, it's just below the ball of the foot right in the middle. It's also called bubbling spring. It's an acupuncture point. Go the other way. Okay, now I'm going to go a little bit bigger with this. And one thing you can also do that may help your balance, you can either lean on a chair, like not lean, but just use a chair for support. You can also put this foot back a little bit behind you. That might help. And go a little bit bigger now with the circle. So the knee is circling out and then it's going the other way. Now we're getting the movement even more up into the upper leg and thigh here and into the groin. Okay, so now I'm going to send the energy down into that right foot, planting it firmly on the floor. Now let's demonstrate with the chair. If you just, maybe it's not even that you're losing your balance, but you feel a little insecure about just doing that on one leg, then just have that here. Okay, so again, just pressing into that ball of the foot, rotating a little bit. And this is almost, this part of it is almost more of a front and back with a little turn. Okay, then going bigger. And the other way. All right, let's do one more for the feet. And this one, if you have a chair handy, I recommend this. If you don't, it's okay. You can do it freestanding. And that one is like this. I'm just going to take my foot back and just lightly press on the top of the foot. So let me show you from the side. So I'm going to use the chair. Not hard. You don't want to put a lot of weight on that foot because the top of the foot is pretty tight. I'm going to bend my standing leg and just press into it. And then stretch back and stretch into that calf. And if your foot doesn't come down all the way, no problem. Never forcing anything in QiGong. Okay, and the other foot, just so you can see me. You could do it. You don't need the chair, but it's kind of nice. Okay, and then again, stretching back. This front leg is bent, and so you can play with the depth of this calf stretch. Okay, I think we are good for our warm-up for today. Time check. Okay, good. Now, I had an idea for this class, which I'm forgetting right now. Yeah, not remembering it at the moment. So we're going to go into our yin cultivating series here. And we'll start with a stance. So this is a stance is where you're just in one place and you're not really moving. And this is yin stance. So you take your feet slightly in, so a little pigeon-toed, and again, just modifying for yourself. Maybe if that's hard, you can do just a little bit, but the feeling here, and if you're more open there and you want to do more, you can be like that. And then here's the yin, maximum yin stance. My hands are like arrows pointing down to the earth, and they're not straight down, they're kind of at a diagonal here, relaxing the shoulders. And imagine now you could draw your energy in from wherever it's been, all your thoughts, the day, and you're just drawing it right in and concentrating it back inside yourself. Like a hibernating bear sinking deeply into itself. That's the feeling here. And the gaze is down. I mean, you may be watching me, but once you got it, just looking down. See if you can feel the feeling of this form. This is the yin. Internal. Facing towards the earth. Calm and grounded. Okay, we're going to release that stance slowly and turn the feet back to parallel. And now I'm going to take my right hand, bring it behind my back. And when the hand is back, it's like this. So it's the back of my hand against my body there, supporting the kidneys. And now with this left hand, I'm going to reach out and not a fist exactly, but it's like I'm gathering, I'm pulling something back towards myself. Watch what's happening with the arm, the elbow goes to the side. And now my hand sweeps forward and across like that. Coming back, I continue gathering the chi of like a new beginning, like even before the spring, the thought of spring, and moving it through my body. It's called wiping the pond. So this is like nurturing myself with hope, with just that little green seedling or that first crocus bulb. Whatever is the first sign of spring where you live. See what's happening in the shoulder as the elbow comes forward, and then there's a very slight dip in the legs here in this. And as I come forward, I rise. Let's do 2 more on this side. Okay, now bring that back. Yeah, and now we'll go to the other side. And I'm sorry I didn't teach you an important detail. I just spaced it out. And that is that you have 1 foot forward. So we'll do it correctly on this side. So bring the right foot slightly forward. The left foot is about 45 degrees or wherever it needs to be for your support and your comfort. Okay, and now we're going to come forward. So you may even feel just a slight little calf stretch in the back leg, and that's good. It's uncomfortable, move your foot forward. So we typically do 5 to 9 repetitions. I think we're on number 5, and then we're doing 7 today. So the hand gathers, comes forward in a fist, soft fist, and then the hand opens like that. Okay, bringing that back. And now let's bring that front leg back and shake it out. Okay, let's come into our next form, which is flame shaping. And we'll start here. Okay, and then we turn the hands like that. Backs of the hands, front of the hands meet. Hands come up. And we come to here and we continue. So this is a little tricky. This is a little odd movement here, this kind of turning the hands. So we go from here to here. I'll sit again for visibility in the form. Hands come up. And because we're in the yin, if we looked up, it would be more yang. Because we're in the yin, we don't look up. And we draw this. This is like a shape. This is called flame shaping, this form. We draw the flame down to our heart. And I don't know if you're feeling it yet, but I always find this yin form to be very warming. And the yin season is the cold season, but balancing the yin means warming up the body. So makes sense to me. 2 more. And notice and observe if your shoulders are staying up. A little tricky on this form. Bring the shoulders down. Okay, good. All right, so we've done 2 of the forms in the yin series here. And now we're going to take the hands and make this shape and see. So I've got my thumbs and my index fingers meeting. And now we're down here and we keep it flat. So here's what it looks like down, facing down the body, but this is the actual position. And we're going to turn, and you've seen this probably if you've been to other classes. This is walking the bear, so turn this foot to the left, and you can turn this foot as you need to. Open the hands, And actually, you want this a little further forward because I'm going to lean onto that front knee. Hands soft, we make 2 circles in the air. Hands come like that as if we're turning. And here. So notice how my spine is pretty straight. I'm not leaning over the leg. I'm just coming forward with my whole body. And we do 2 of those circles on each side. Again, I'm straight up, really, pretty much. It's just moving as with my lean. So I'm not bending here. Just reaching forward, bending my hands over like that. And our hands, as they move up the body and up the inside of the leg, we're working with the Jing, which is an aspect of the Qi, connected with our sexual energy, our creativity, and our vitality. So here we're drawing that procreative or the Jing energy up from the earth, lifting it into our bodies, circulating it through both sides of the body, and planting it in the earth. And we lift it up, carry it. Feeling in this form is low, slow, kind of a sense of dignity even. We are cultivating and at the same time conserving our qi, this slow, intentional movement and moving into the earth. Form is a spleen form. Notice if your hands are starting to stiffen, see if you can just picture them just soft, like they're in a pool of melted butter. Okay, let's finish here. Right, let's move into our next form. And I actually taught this in the beginner's class yesterday. So it's not that the beginner's class is like less advanced, it's just a different class in that I'm not teaching a sequence as much. Okay, so like bring the hands here, coming into standing at stake. And we're going to move into eternal winging now. See, I can see myself really well. I can see my shoulders are up. Okay, these are habits. And I still have to retrain myself. All right, so we start like this. And I recommend if you haven't done this before, just watch the first one. And now I'm going to step slightly with this foot and go up. And I come down. And the movement is coming from the torso and the hips. And the arms are like riding the momentum here. And then join me when you feel ready. So now this lower hand, like it's got a string and it's pulling the upper hand. And now this hand is now the lower hand and it's pushing the other hand up. So it is a bit of a twist. And if your balance is challenging you, adjust, you can put your feet closer and do it smaller. And we're working with the lungs here. And to me, this is called eternal winging and it has a feeling of the wind in it to me. And my gaze is back towards where my hands are. Everything turns, and once more towards the back. This form takes a little bit more coordination and balance, so be kind to yourself if you're a little challenged by it. Okay, finishing this with the same movement again. So, like the leaves dancing in the wind. Good. And let's just pause here for a second. So put your left hand, then cover with your right, just below your belly button. Breathe and tune in, just check in with yourself. Close your eyes if it helps, and just notice if you've built up any kind of tension anywhere in the shoulders or the feet, maybe in your jaw, and just shake it, move it, stretch it out. Checking our time. Okay, good. So this yin form has 5 different movements in it, and now we're going to do the last movement. This one's for the kidneys. So we're going through the whole cycle of the creation cycle in Chinese medicine, which we can think of as the seasons. So we started with a form for the liver, and that's spring. Then we went into a form for the heart, which is summer. We did a form for spleen, which is late summer, which the Chinese consider its own season. We did the last movement we just did was for the lungs for the fall. And now we're going to do the form for the kidneys, and this is for the winter season. But you can do this whole series anytime. It doesn't have to be at any particular season. Okay, so hands come here, and the hands are going to just drop the body. And as I come to about here, I'm going to tilt my pelvis back, and my hands are going to come forward like that. And then I'm going to look to the left as my hands come back. And I'll do it. This is just the demonstration round here. So I turn my head now to the right. And as the hands come back down, my head comes to center. So let me just show you from the side, because there's also a little pelvic movement. So I bend my knees and I'm coming up. Tilt the pelvis forward as the hands are like this, and then the pelvis starts to return as I turn and I come back to here. So let's do this form. It's called effortless rowing. Okay, so here we go. Bending the knees, hands are touching the body lightly, tilting the pelvis forward and coming back down. Okay, let's do that again. So we look straight up as we do this first part, then I turn as my hands come back. And the pelvic tilt is not a huge movement. You should feel it, but don't get crazy with it and push yourself way out like that. That's not good. Not be helpful to your body. Let's put it that way. Deeply nourishing the kidneys. This form. Take a minute again. Let's come to Dantian settling. Notice how you're feeling in your body. And let's finish the set by returning to the yin stance. So feet towards each other, arms like that. And again, just sink into yourself, into that restful, calm place inside. And from this yin place, knowing that we are children of the earth and everything is provided for us. Unwinding that. Good. How are we now for time? Okay, so I'd like to finish our practice. It always goes so fast. I'd like to finish our practice with some sound healing. And this is another way of moving the chi or healing energy through the body is through sound. And the sound vibrates all of our cells with our healing intention. So we're going to do two sounds. And the first sound is the sound of Ong, like O-N-G. These are Tibetan sounds. And this one is for the upper body. So let me show you the movement and then you can just join me with it. Okay, so I come up to here. Just like we did in showering chi. And the hands come up, they meet. So this is different than the showering chi, but similar to something else we did. The hands come down to here, relax the shoulders, and here's the position where we're going to do the sound from. So as you follow me, I'll start the sound and just join me. Feel the sound vibrating through your upper body, knowing that you are sending profound healing energy there. And I have a pretty long breath, but if you run out of breath before I do, take another breath and start your sound again, so we don't have to be in sync. And you're all on mute, so I hope you don't feel self-conscious. All right, so from here, feel your ground and take in a nice deep breath, and on the exhale, we'll make the sound. Hands relaxed. We'll do the same movement and then we'll use the sound of ah and we'll vibrate it through our lower body. So here we go. Here we'll point the hands down towards the earth. Nice deep breath. Let's take in one more breath. One more time. Beautiful. And then once more, coming to Dantian. Now bring one hand up to the middle dantian to the heart and feeling the connection between your dantian. For women, it's the womb space, and men also have this energetic center, even though, of course, they don't have a womb. And feeling the connection between this is our physical energy, our physical power, and our heart energy. Feeling the connection between the two. So we can move with the guidance and the wisdom of our heart. And we can relate to others from the grounded strength of being in our own physical body. Beautiful. So let's just bow out. And let me get closer so I can talk to you more directly. So, how's everybody doing? And I'm open to questions or any kind of sharing that you want to share about how you're feeling or what there was something particularly that you liked in this class session today. And questions, of course.
Ellen, last week, I think I overdid it with the rotation, especially of the legs. I had pain in my knees like for 3 or 4 days. So it's gone now. And I did these sitting down this time.
Good.
So I think that made it a lot easier and not putting so much stress on my joints because I've got arthritis.
Good idea. Yeah. It seems to be the case for a lot of people with arthritis is they're doing better in a chair. So I'm glad to hear you listen to your body. And, you may build up some more strength over time, but it's not necessary. You just had how was the practice for you in a chair? How did it feel?
In a way, a bit constrained that I didn't feel before, but on the other hand, I did too much last time. And then I remember you said to stay at 80%, and I was stretching farther than I should have and turning more than I should have instead of building up to it. So I wanted to kind of step back and just start at a lower level.
Good. And some of it is also, we don't always know what our capacity is until afterwards. If we go really too far, we injure ourselves and we have immediate feedback. But sometimes it's not that, but we've just pushed it a little too far. And it's only afterwards that we realize that was a bit much for me. So I'm glad and that's what I say to everybody is it's not wrong or right. We're improving from wherever we're starting from. And listening to your body will thank you and you will thank your body too. So, well, I'm very glad for somebody who said that this was your first class. So, yeah. And really, this is in a way we have to do that. We have to test our limits and our abilities somewhat. We don't always know. But once you do, it's like that soreness is a message. And it could also be, and this is why I go on about it, but I'm also not, I forget too, is the whole thing about the alignment. So if your knees are not really aligned for you, if you're just even slightly going in to the inside of here, let me just show you from standing. So if my knees are even going slightly in like that, after I do a number of repetitions, it's strains. So it's a challenge and a retraining of okay, I have to kind of use my muscles in a way to make sure my knees are going back really over my feet. So, and I learned the knee thing the hard way myself, which is, I I had a knee injury. I healed from it, and then I was doing quite a lot of QiGong, and I started having knee pain again. And I went to this chiropractor who knows the QiGong that I was doing. And he said, that's the secret. Make sure your alignment is there. Otherwise, a little thing out of line that's repeated starts to create a problem. So, yeah. Other questions or sharing? And thank you for that. Yeah. That was your first chi. Oh, sweet. So any other questions? You can type it in the chat or you can just unmute and share it. Okay. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed the flow. And I think I mean, they're all beautiful. I love all the different Qigong forms, and at different times, different ones I like better than others. And I think that has to do with each one has its own particular, healing benefit. So some things will appeal to us at certain times, and it can change day to day too. But the yin series that I taught today, I find it to be beautiful, like the movements are beautiful, and just we need this yin. It's like the good mother. It's like the calm, present mother, because all these voices of fear and stress and craziness on the news, or it's like, okay, we need the antidote to that. And so again, yin is about grounding too. And like I go on and on about grounding, but it helps us to feel both more stable in our lives and more resilient. So if I'm ungrounded, then any wind, whether it's a literal wind or it's the wind of somebody's big emotions or the news, the crazy virus, could throw me off. So if I'm grounded, I have my roots. Yeah, and each of the forms. So I teach this Get Moving with Qigong class on Tuesday and Thursday. The Thursday class, I'm going to be teaching the morning medical series. So that's a different flow of forms. And if you come to different classes, you'll see some overlap and some of the same things and some different things. I try and mix it up. But that's what we're doing in the Get Moving class. And the other class, Qigong for Beginners, is a little bit more talking and explanation and individual forms that I'm just picking, for the moment. So, yeah, so I'm teaching a lot on Get Set Up now. I'm teaching 4 Qigong classes a week here. And I'm also teaching Ageless Grace, which is playful. I call it brain health, fitness, fun. But it's really playing in a chair and doing something great for your brain and your body. And we do that to music. That one is coming up tomorrow morning and Saturday morning. And tomorrow I also have a class that just started it a couple of weeks ago on self-healing through touch. And that's learning about different points you can work on your body and different ways of using your hands, your breath, and simple things to help yourself feel better. So very good, Karen. So thank you all for being here. Any last questions before we wrap up for today? Okay, this is what I've noticed, that after I teach the yin class, everybody's very quiet. And that's the yin. It's like internal. It's like I'm in my peaceful world here. So that's fine. So have a wonderful rest of your day and see you in practice again. Take good care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, and there is a link to my other classes, which is here. I'll just leave that for a second if anyone wants to click on it. So thank you, Lester. Thank you all, and blessings of Qi to you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.